Good morning, warriors! So excited to be with you guys on this amazing Tuesday, bringing you another YouTube video. Now, what I want to share with you guys is the insight and the understanding of what I believe is happening within our world. Now, what I always say to my warriors, if you know the game, you can't be played. Now, this has been happening in history over and over and over again. Now, often people say history repeats itself. It doesn't truly repeat itself. It just rhymes. It's called human behavior. Right? When there's money involved and people are doing things wrong, they have to cover things up. And so I'm going to break down from a common sense point of view on where our economy is heading and the things that I have seen and the things that I know and the things that I understand from my deep-rooted subconscious mind programming, from being an executive banker, going through CBA executive banking school and understanding how to scale banks from the ground up, from walking away from corporate America and starting a warrior academy to teach people all over the world mind, body, immunity, and how to build generational wealth. So I'm going to show you my perspective on how my brain works. Now, I always tell people, don't believe a word I say. I'm teaching you how to fish. I'm teaching you to pick up the fishing pole and actually go out there and fish. We've created a society now that when you see a post, you immediately react and send it to all your friends without doing any research. What I'm teaching you how to do is to step back for just a moment, take a deep breath, take in the information, and then educate yourself. Understanding economics is critical. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. Economics is extremely, extremely boring. Reality shows are very, very exciting. If I give you a Bible or I give you a tabloid magazine, which one would you read? We all know the answer. Go through the first part of the Bible. It's very, very, very boring. It's not very exciting, warriors, and they know this. And so there's been a lot of things happening within our economy, specifically when we detached from the gold standard in 1971 with President Nixon. In 1971, the World Economic Forum was created, and we've had this whole system going on, and we're moving into a new Green Deal, the Paris Agreement. We got a new president coming in. There's a lot of changes going on. But here's the facts, warriors. We are moving from industrial to technical. Now, from that change from industrial to technical, your monetary system has to change. So let's take out all the conspiracy and all this stuff. Your monetary system at some point has to change. Just like you went from using a rotary phone to a phone with a cord to a beeper to a handheld cell phone to wearable technology to Alexa to Facebook, what's that thing called? That Facebook thing that moves around now with your Facebook Messenger thing. It's just how things work. We used to watch cartoons with the Jetsons, and now we're actually living it. So it's just a change. There hasn't been a new monetary system since the 1600s, and I'll tell you what, warriors, cryptocurrency is here to stay. So I'm going to break it down from a common sense point of view. I'm not a technical analysis guy. I'm invested based on where our economy is going and based on what the World Economic Forum, the IMF, and the billionaires are doing. I don't listen to a word they say, I watch their actions. And actions speak louder than words, correct? Okay, so I'm going to break this down for you from my perspective and how my brain works. You can digest this information, do your research, comment down below if there's anything you've seen that I'm saying incorrectly or if you support. And that way we can learn and grow together. So that's what I teach my warriors in the academy. We come together in a Discord. We come together on a weekly call on Thursdays. We talk about my cryptocurrency portfolio. I show them exactly what I'm doing in the quantum financial system. And I'll tell you what, warriors, the biggest shift in generational wealth is happening right now. And 99.9% of you are going to be left behind because you're watching a pandemic this way as there's a whole nother narrative going on this way. So I'm going to break this down for you guys in regards to cryptocurrency. Now, cryptocurrency came out in around 2006. This says 2008. It says Bitcoin was invented in the financial aftermath of 2008. From my perspective, I thought it was invented in 2006, but I'm going to read this to kind of give you a historical view around Bitcoin. And I want you to open up your mind and listen to what I'm saying and the common sense things that I'm talking about. So let's take a trip back. So how many of you, all of you, lived through the crisis in 2008, right? So I had my own business. I had a bodybuilding company back then. I really messed up my life. I was in a totally different paradigm. If you know my story, 15 years ago, I attempted suicide, suffering from an opiate addiction, completely wrecked my life. And I woke up to the book called The Secret and started becoming a professional in subconscious mind programming. 15 years later, graduated executive banking school, 4-year degree, podcast host, author of 2 books, got my 3rd book that I'll be publishing at some point soon. It's already written. Own 4 different companies, Warrior Academy, supplement company. So you would say I went from rock bottom to success, right? But what does that mean, warriors? I understood after I came out of that, and as we went and the finish of the crisis and I went into banking, I started to question everything. And so think about this. Bitcoin was created in 2006, but it started to emerge after the financial crisis in 2008. So numerous banks and financial institutions failed across the world and had to be bailed out by governments at the expense of us, the taxpayers, of you and I, at our expense. This uncensored the fragile modern financial system, where the health and monetary system is reliant on banks and other financial institutions, and they were forced to trust to make wise, prudent decisions with the money we gave them. Too often, for comfort, they failed to carry out the fiduciary responsibility in an adequate degree. Think about this. So we're giving, our taxpayers are helping them stay open, right? And how on earth, I want you to think about this. If you don't know what happened in the financial crisis in 2008, people were getting loans with no stated income. I could walk in with a business and not even give my income, and I could get $1 million loan, interest-only loan. People I know personally were living in $1 million homes and had hardly any income and were paying interest only. They were only paying the interest. Who on earth in our government, who was monitoring this? Who was letting this happen? I believe that they were already setting us up for this financial crisis that we're going through in 2020. They already knew that the monetary system was shaking. We were already in a low interest rate environment. They were printing money like crazy. This started the whole thing to set us up for the moment in time we're in right now. Now, ironically, Bitcoin was created during that time. I believe Bitcoin was created to be the new monetary system. And here's why. Now PayPal has it. You got your JP coin, JP Morgan Chase, one of the biggest companies in the world. They now have the JP coin. They have their own blockchain. They bank the #1 cryptocurrency platform, Coinbase. You got Bank of America, the most cryptocurrency patents. You got Wells Fargo invested $5 million in a cryptocurrency. You have PayPal, who said it was a fraud last year, now has cryptocurrency on your actual platform, whereas we are moving to the quantum financial system. Now, let me show you something really quickly. So the financial crisis and history of Bitcoin, I told you about that, right? So Bitcoin is created during that crisis. Now, we operate on an old archaic banking system called the SWIFT system, which was about 50 years ago before the internet. We can't continue in this new financial system on the old archaic system, so it has to move, warriors. So you have to get out of your head this whole thing that Bitcoin's a fraud, that cryptocurrency is not here to stay, that it's going to collapse. It is the new banking rails, warriors. It is the new banking rails. Your stimulus check is going to come on a FedNow wallet. You're going to see some big announcements in the next 15 days, specifically going into January. So let's take a look. Let's take a journey, okay? So that was 10 years ago. We went into 2020, and what were the 10 most profitable companies in 2020? As you're worried about losing your job, as mom and pop companies that have been created for years after years after years, blood, sweat, and tears are getting crushed. Retail businesses are going to get squashed. People's finances are going to get destroyed. People's 401ks are going to get destroyed. People's pensions are going to be lost. But there's 10 companies that are profiting greatly during the C word, okay? 10 most profitable companies in America in 2020 have combined net profits at $329 billion, where their total assets are worth near $3 trillion, all thanks to the capitalist dream that is America. Every year, in fact, every day, the gap between the rich and the poor in the U.S. increases, and specifically during the C word. The differences, I said that, the differences between the 1% and the 99% is stark, and it shows no sign of stopping. While the pandemic may have been hailed as the great equalizer, it has only severed the increase of the gap. After all, there's a reason why at the end of May, over 40 million people had lost their jobs, while within the same time period, the net worth of Americans billionaires increased by an outstanding $430 billion. This does not seem to be a survivable mode for operations, but time will tell. Now think about this, warriors. So as you lose your job, as we're going through a pandemic, as our government is just printing money, low interest rate environment, they're going to put out another stimulus. You're going to be excited because you get your stimulus check, and the rich keep getting richer. Amazon, okay? Walmart, Pfizer, Walmart, Amazon, Pfizer, vaccines, Verizon Communication, Johnson & Johnson, I believe they're involved in vaccines as well. Facebook, Intel, Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett, moving from fiat currency out of bank stocks into gold. Gold mines, think about that. Increase his position in Bank of America. Why did he do that? I think it's because of Ripple XRP. Microsoft and Apple all increased dramatically, but you're still sitting here looking at a pandemic. You're believing that we're not moving in the quantum financial system. So let me ask you a question. I want you to think about this. So do you think Apple, Microsoft, Berkshire Hathaway, Alphabet, which is Google, right? Intel, Facebook, Johnson & Johnson, Verizon, Walmart, and Amazon, and Pfizer are going to operate off old banking archaic rails? No. The private sector and public sector are coming together, and it's all being packaged in a Green Deal. Okay. Now, the Green Deal, you heard about it during the presidential debates, right? They were arguing back and forth. So a Green Deal is a new world shaped by the C word, right? It was the black swan to get us ready. The Great Reset has been planned for a long time, warriors. So the C word pandemic will profoundly change the world in many ways. It already has. Trillions of dollars have been conjured out of thin air by governments to prevent total economic collapse. The airline industry has been brought to an almost total standstill as the national borders have been closed, and the price of oil plunged to historical lows in response to the glut of crude in the oil market. These are just three examples that would have seemed unimaginable at the beginning of the year. When it comes to creating a sustainable future for post-C word, we must also dare to imagine the impossible. And in the many countries around the world where work and contains aspects of the new Green Deal, warriors, we are moving into the Green Deal. The Paris Agreement, zero carbon in 2050, okay? We are moving to zero carbon in 2050. Within the next 10 years, from 2020 to 2030, the way you do business is going to be completely different. The way you do your finances is going to be completely different. Your job is going to look different. Some of you are going to lose your job, warriors. And it's time to open up your awareness and stop listening to your neighbor who's telling you everything that's going on the news. The news is not going to tell you where we are headed. They are having you look this way as there's a whole nother agenda going this way. Just think about the companies that made more profit this year. Just rationalize that part of it. All of that is going to be running on a blockchain. Let me give you a specific example. One of my top cryptocurrencies that I'm invested in, that I teach my warriors, I show my warriors my own portfolio, is VeChain. Look at this. VeChain enables the EHCert app to go beyond C-word records and onboards another hospital in Cyprus. December 3rd, 2020. The C-word pandemic showed the world the value of digital technology. It's a narrative, guys, that demonstrate their increasing vital role in healthcare. During 2020, VeChain alongside iDaniel collaborated to work with blockchain-enabled medical solutions, developing the EHCert app, an archival solution for C-word antibody test records. The solution will implement at the Mediterranean Hospital of Cyprus, and between June and August, record the results of 8,000 people who subsequently use them as part of a flight arrival process. VeChain is going to connect the C word. It's going to let you know what's going on. Warriors, we are moving fast and furious into the quantum financial system. Quantum meaning, think about this. There's a couple different things. Quantum meaning industrial to technical. You've already been getting ready for this, so don't let your neighbor convince you that this is not the way we're heading. Beeper to cell phone. Checks to debit card. Think about that. You went to a loan to get a bank, then you can get a loan online. Think about home loans. Home loans. Rocket mortgage. You can do your whole mortgage and somebody comes to your house as a notary and signs the documents. Warriors, you've been slowly and methodically predictive programming to get ready for this. And many of you are going to sit back and be like, no, I'm not moving into this. As you're doing Rocket Mortgage, as you're talking to Alexa, as you have your iWatch, as you're talking to Siri. These are things you're already in it, warriors. You're already in it. You are not going to stop the freight train. The only way you're going to avoid this is to move off the grid into the forest with no cell technology and grow your own food. Here's my prediction what's going to happen. Within the next 10 years, the meat and dairy industry is going to get wiped out. Watch my the game day or the what's it called? Game day? I forget. The game day game changer documentary around the veganism. Right? It was a narrative. They're pulling in the Green Deal. Everybody's pulling in the Green Deal. This engineered food. It's not going to be the meat and dairy industry is going to get wiped out. The meat and dairy industry is one of the biggest causes of the carbon, right? We're going to zero carbon. Warriors, that's why they say there's the biggest shift in generational wealth. It's like sitting there when somebody comes to you and says, here's a computer. You should invest in this. Nah, we're just going to send emails. Or we're just going to send letters. I'm just going to write a letter. I'm going to go knock on people's doors. Think about it. When Henry Ford was building these affordable cars, there was a group of people sitting there going, let's invest in gas and oil. That is the richest people in the world. The Pope just signed into inclusive capitalism, warriors. There's a small percentage of the warriors, uncommon 1%, us, investing in the new future and bringing the money back to the people, warriors. I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you, warriors. We have a Warrior Academy. I'll show you this right here. We have a Warrior Academy where we teach mind, body, immunity. It's very important. We work out live together every single day. We build out your nutrition plan. We're building out this for January for our whole Warriors. We're going to do a 120-day challenge where you're going to be working out on a daily basis. You're going to be learning to save, subconscious mind programming around wealth, understanding economics so you know the game and you can't be played, what is cryptocurrency, and I literally show my exact portfolio, warriors. I'm not a financial advisor. None of it's financial advice. I show you everything. You have a crypto Discord, my perspective, my generational wealth building plan, and my exact portfolio every single time it updates, warriors. So if you're ready to rise to the top, if you're ready to help your family, if you're ready to manage into this new quantum financial system and bring the money back to the people, this is the family for you. We are warriors rising together. You know what I always say? Warriors, rise. Let's go.